citizens.
What's up, everybody?
I started yelling in the mic.
Oh!
We'll talk about that later. I'm doing Rob Kerr show, and he always yells into the mic. And it's like, and I just did it myself. So we're back. And if you're watching us on YouTube or you're watching us on social media or whatever you're doing, you're noticing that we're sitting on a couch.
Yeah, we're cozy today.
There's red lights and there's yellow lights, and
like I said, it looks a little like after hours pillow talk kind of situation with the red lights, but
I know
it's okay.
Well, if you watched Afterburner, we put the purple on Pinder yesterday, and it looked really good. People noticed it, but we still, whether we change rooms or wherever we put ourselves, we're still in the Oodle Noodle studio.
Yep.
So shout out to Oodle Noodle, our sponsor, 17th Ave, 12th Street. Sponsor of Citizens, sponsor of Just a Game with Rob Kerr, which we'll get into a little bit later, but we're still in the Oodle Noodle studios. You'll see that logo on our social channels all over the place. So shout out Oodle Noodle.
Yeah, thank you for letting us get our noodle on.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a taste test one day or something like that.
I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah,
because embarrassingly enough, I have yet to try it.
Yeah, well, that's so we've got.
But here's the thing, though. I have so much faith that it's going to be delicious because, that's all you guys ever talk about. So
I know, yeah,
right?
I know. It's I live in Airdrie. It is one out in Airdrie too, and it's good. Now, when you did say that you haven't had Oodle Noodle, we have our producer. He's back today. The Wolverine is back today.
Oh my god!
And he's off camera. It's 4:30. You know what? When you're working at the shop or whatever, it's usually 4:30 beers. So that's what the Wolverine is doing. But he scoffed at you a little bit there.
Sorry. Listen, I'm just trying to. I can be honest, and I can, like I said, I will take your guys' word for it, right? But I need to find some time to hang out with you guys more, and then we can go and we can noodle it up.
Well, we'll get into the, you kind of came into the studio today. And you were laughing at me a little bit because I looked like I was a little bit in a rant. I'm a little fucking tired today. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well,
things at FlamesNation are ramping up big time. They literally never stop.
Mm-hmm.
We added Rob Kerr, which again we'll get into. Another show. Rob went 2 hours today. He's a live show.
He went 2 hours.
He went a full 2 hours, and he doesn't want to stop either. Like he'll keep going. We have to cut him off.
You know what? I think that's awesome because it's better to have more and then have to trim it down than to have too little.
When you're the producer, you kind of want to. Rob, I got another show I got to do here, fella.
I get it from a producer standpoint, but
from content, it's so good. Like even he did Afterburner last week, and we don't do Afterburners on the weekend as of right now. And Boomer's like, we'll be back next Tuesday. And Kerr was like, well, what about Saturday? Who's doing Saturday? So
he's like, I'm ready to go.
But anyways, I did Afterburner, I did Barn Burner, I did Rob Kerr. And now I'm doing Citizens. So I've done back to back shows.
And you got one more.
I have Missing Curfew that I have to do tonight too. So I'm doing 5 shows in less than 24 hours. I'm fucking tired. But we want to do the show.
Let's see.
It's the tradition that we do on Citizens.
Yeah.
It's the smelling salts. Guys are asking for us to do it on Twitter. I'm absolutely.
Is that a new one?
This is a new one. Like when I opened it, it sounded like the Wolverine's beer. Like it literally was like when I opened it. So this thing's gotta be.
I don't know what's.
Like I gotta take a big call here because we got a good show coming up here. I don't want to disappoint you, but I'm gonna be a little.
Wait. Are you alive?
Like even the Wolverine's coughing. Give it a little shake. I think the listeners online are like, what the fuck?
Okay.
We're good.
You feeling alive? Feeling well?
I'm good now. Like,
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm good.
I mean, it's a good way to start the show. I don't know, you know what? If you're doing it, give it.
It was.
Give it.
You gotta give it a good shake.
I'm not giving it a big haul like you did.
The other one wasn't bad. Like that. Maybe it was.
Hold up.
It was fresh. I don't know.
Just see. I'm trying to manage here with keeping my mic.
So I guess we're gonna do this every week now. I don't know.
Bottoms up.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Oh. No.
It's kind of scary. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because this one's like
it's fresh.
No.
It's not too bad. Yeah.
Okay, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing the heave ho.
The Wolverine's like, what the fuck are these people doing
on
the show?
People are talking about it. They seem to like it. So
well, let's say I saw that one person was like told Rob Kerr on his first show, you didn't do the smelling salts. Like the like they do on Citizens. So
Well,
it's a citizen thing, though, right?
it is, yeah. It is, yeah. Well, the Barn Burner guys did do it first, but they haven't done it again. So this is our third time doing it, and we've had 4 shows. So
people are like, I think they have a problem.
We're the youngest crew on the show lineup here at FlamesNation. So.
Yeah, but last week we were chatting a bit about you and
Right.
your kind of deep dive into the podcast, broadcast, sports world.
Yeah,
and then we were we left it on a bit of a cliffhanger.
Right. Yeah, we could have kept going because if you listen to the last podcast, I kind of come from 2 worlds. Like I come from the missing curfew world, and then I come from the nation world too. So I think we covered the missing curfew stuff and kind of got into the nation stuff a little bit. But I have, I do get a lot of people ask, especially me being the guy that's not been at FlamesNation the longest. Like Ryan Pike has that title, like
Attaboy, Pike.
fucking decade and a half or whatever it's been. But just being in the production role and the content producer side, brand man, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I was here before Boomer and Pinder showed up, and I've been here with them every day since.
Yeah.
Like there's very few days that I miss with them, and a lot of people are flat out asking like, how was that? Like what happened? Like what's it like to work with Boomer, and what's it like to work with Pinder?
Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, we can give a little deep dive into it. I mean, how long? So they showed up in October, November, December, January, February, March. Like we're looking at about 6 months with Boomer and Pinder right now. But we actually didn't, I don't think we nailed them down until about late August, September. But however, we knew about it for a while. Like that's how this stuff kind of works. It's we joke around about it. Like we joke around about it online with FlamesNation about it's like free agency in hockey, right? Like you're trying to reach out, you're trying to improve your team, you're trying to better your team. Obviously without those guys, we probably aren't sitting here in a nice well-lit studio with
cheers
with
to
you
that
as a co-host, a producer back there, all the equipment, all that kind of stuff. So without them, I don't think any of this is really possible. So it was worth the ad. A lot of people do ask about, when Boomer and Pinder did leave Sports Center or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That is to my knowledge, that was just something on their own. Like that was.
People ask me all the time too, and I'm like, listen, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea, but like. I just think that it's one of those things where maybe it was just they wanted to change. Maybe
to my knowledge. I mean, we're obviously not going to reveal the house here on everything, but I didn't know about it until I saw like the news. Like it was I don't know if I'm pumping Boomer's tires too much. It wasn't major news, but it was news. Like,
well, the thing is like when people were asking me questions, I looked online because I was like, maybe I'll be able to find the answer online, and it seems like there were articles, right? There was conversation happening within the community about it. So it felt like a pretty big deal. But
I saw the news. I saw it happen. I was working with FlamesNation at the time. I think they were in the playoffs. I know I would have been after the Flames lost to Edmonton because I know that they were breaking down the game or whatever about Edmonton. So it would have been springish, summertime. And like I said, the Boomer had left, and then it just nothing clicked in my head. Like, I just started thinking like, oh, I wonder if he's going to go to like Sid Seixeiro or whatever in Toronto. He's going to go to like Breakfast Television or something like that. Like just doing the math in my head about like, oh, well, he's in his mid 40s or early 40s, whatever. He's not retiring. Yeah. So what is he doing here? And he didn't reveal too much. And then I think it was a couple weeks later, then Pinder left. Yeah. And I'm kind of in my head, I'm like, still had not registered in my head. Because I didn't think of it. Like I just didn't think of it. Like, I'm not thinking like, oh, they're like FlamesNation or whatever. And I ended up going up to Edmonton, to the Nation HQ up in Edmonton before we had our studio head office, whatever you want.
But I have to ask. Yeah. I have to ask. And Wolverine could probably attest to this too. Which HQ is nicer?
They're both really nice, but we set this one up from scratch, so I think we could push this way.
More love put into this.
Yeah, they're both sweet though, and there's also a very nice bakery and restaurant downstairs. So
I was gonna say like there's no like I wouldn't put one ahead of the other because each has its qualities and each has its like the Edmonton one I would say is in terms of space bigger, I think.
Okay.
There's other offices that are out of it too. Oodle. Where ours isn't as big, but I think ours is more aesthetically nicer. Yeah. It looks nicer. It's put together a little bit. We got it from scratch, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and Jared did mention there's a very nice restaurant in Edmonton. It's called the Dog Patch.
Okay.
Just below, like it's literally like it'd be like you walk downstairs.
Ooh.
Nice little coffee shop.
That's
Where us,
deadly.
we got to go down the street to Marta Loop, where all the staff knows the Wolverine by name. He
of course
has a
he's a
stock
regular
in the company, I'm sure, because he goes every week.
Potential new show sponsor. We'll see.
Oh, got the smoke, the Wolverine smoke. We got merchants, we got OJs, but it's all within walking distance, right?
Totally.
So, there's our area is a little bit more hip, a little bit more happening. There.
Did you just say hip and happening?
It is.
Did that just show your age?
I'm the second youngest one on the crew next to you. Like,
you just said hip and happening though. I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. It's fine.
So to backtrack, I went to the Edmonton office for the first time.
Yeah.
I think it would have been about around that. No, maybe it wasn't the first time because it would have been playoffs. It would have been my second time when I went to the playoffs. When I got kicked out of the press box and all that shit. But
wear a Flames jersey in the press box. That's our Flames hoodie. Sorry, that was a great idea.
Yeah, we could get into that one a little bit after, but I think we saved that one for a different podcast because it's a long story on its own. But I did get kicked out of the Rogers Arena or whatever you want to call the media.
You went into the wrong house wearing the wrong thing, hey?
Uncle Ken just will fucking strangle me. So I went there and just I'm still relatively new. Like I'd been there for a couple months. I'm still meeting everyone. Like Jared and I were talking about merch and stuff like that. And Jay, one of the owners, just randomly asked me, "What do you think of Boomer and Pinder? Like, were they good hosts? What was their show like? This and that?" Again, I answered him being like, "Oh yeah, they're good. Awesome, man. They've been around for a decade. Oh, they're good." Didn't register in my head until I'm fucking driving home. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, is he asking me about them because he's going after them?
It finally clicked for you, hey?
It finally did click to me.
Yeah.
And I knew that there was a little bit of conversation here and there. I also knew that just focusing on FlamesNation, sometimes it's none of my business to be asking those kind of questions, stuff like that. They want to come to me and tell me they can. And I in this job, as you're learning with me, whipping smelling salts and doing 5 shows back to back. No, the time off is a few and far between.
Yeah, I feel that.
I finished. We did all the. I think it was before the draft or whatever. I went out to Saskatchewan. I got family out there. We got a nice little cabin out there. So we had a big family retreat. All of our family was there. And I know the only shitty thing is I booked the time off because I was there for 3 days, is 0 cell service. Like, I mean, the minute you get in there, there's no Wi-Fi. There's nothing. So I'm gone. Read a book. Off the grid. So I'm 20 minutes out from heading out to the cabin in Saskatchewan. I get a call from the Wolverine. Oh, God. And I pick up the phone and he goes, "Yeah, I think we got Boomer and Pinder." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, "What do you mean?" And then he's like, "I can't give you more detail, blah, blah." Click, lose service. So
you're like, I will see you in 4 months. No.
3 days in my head to process that Boomer and Pinder, Calgary sports media icons, guys that I listened to when I was 20 years old, are coming to FlamesNation, and you're going to be producing their show and doing this. But I had no other information. I couldn't text him. I couldn't call him back. Nothing.
That would make me lose my ever-loving mind.
I'm not gonna lie. There was a couple nights where I was sitting at the counter drinking a beer, just thinking, like staring into the start, like, what are we gonna
You start
do
having
here?
like a bit of a panic attack. You're like,
not a panic, but it was just like, what is the next? Like, what's gonna happen? What is this gonna do for FlamesNation? That's what you start thinking ahead of it. That's gonna move us you start thinking of all these things of being like, well, Boomer and Pinder, they're not gonna want to do a show from their basement. They're not gonna want to do it remote because their chemistry is so good. Even though they bicker like an old couple a lot of the time.
Well, it's got to be in person. You know what I mean? Like, we did the Zoom thing for so long, and it's whether it's dating or it's podcasting or it's concerts, it's better in person.
It is, it is. So that crossed my mind of being like, what are we gonna do for that? And that would have been, I think, about June or July, but the process got figured out still a little bit. Jared and I who's Jared actually? Call him the fucking Wolverine.
Way to go.
Is that like a fine every time I say his
Should we get a jar? Do we need a jar?
Beer.
The fucking fine fund every time I mention him by name. But the Wolverine, we didn't actually meet up with them till about later August. Met up with them. I got to meet them in person. I had actually texted with Boomer a little bit before. I was put on a hold of don't talk to them until it's the right time. And the funny thing is, I went to a Stamps game in the summertime, fully well knowing that we have them, but still doing the appropriate thing of not reaching out to them until the right time. I'm lined up at the Stamps game. I'm walking in, and sure enough, somebody touches my shoulder, and it's Pinder, and he's standing right beside me.
Oh shit!
And I'm just like, and I'm like, I know. And the funny thing is, I knew that something had happened like through the negotiation process when Boomer and Pinder both followed me within seconds. Like one day I looked at my phone, it was like follow Boomer, and then Pinder like right the next day followed. So they knew who I was.
Something's cooking.
Yeah, they knew who I was, but Pinder
you a little starstruck.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, like, yeah, like I'm not, again, I don't like Pinder hears this ego pump fucking Pinder, but yeah, like these guys, like they've been on radio.
You're always so cool though. You're always like, no, it's fine. But I get it. They're big deals.
Well, the different thing about them is like they have social media presence, but when they were on the radio, it wasn't too much. Like I think Pinder gets real lively around Stampede time.
Yeah.
But not really a whole lot out there. And so you don't get to see them in person, like on social media that much, to actually physically see them in person, because when they were on the radio, they weren't doing what we're doing now and putting them on video, right? So you don't get to see them.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, when I saw them, like I'd seen Pinder before. Pinder was in that suite at the Flames game we talked about last episode where I weaseled my way into that suite. Pinder was in there, so I did meet him then. But I had no idea at the time. So yeah, I was a little starstruck, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. The next thing you know, we have a studio and we have a show. The first show was absolutely terrible. The audio didn't work. The mics were just fucking awful. Like we're with Barnburner, we're approaching episode 100, but we're not going to count.
That's amazing.
We're not going to count episode 100 as episode 100. It'll be episode 101 because we don't count the first episode. Oh, because it was basically like a record. It was like,
why is this like a superstitious thing?
We can laugh at it now.
Yeah.
At the time, absolutely not. Like Wolverine probably wants to strangle me for that day.
Hey, everybody has a beginning, and sometimes it's not that pretty.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're approaching episode 100. What I can say is like it's great to have them back. In a different capacity too. It's the tough thing for me is I don't get to see it as a fan. If you know what I mean by that, where I listened to them on the radio, the drive to work, the drive to school. Listen to them podcasted when they started doing that. I always wonder what it's like for a diehard person to now see what it's like to see them on video, on social media.
Yeah.
Because I see it from the business side. Like,
yeah.
I don't see it as a fan. Like when I'm scrolling through and I look at the clips, I'm looking at the sponsor logo. I'm looking at, does the video quality look good? I'm not looking at it as a fan.
Oh yeah. I've had like many conversations with friends about stuff like that, even with concerts and stuff. Is like, I view things a lot differently because of the industry experience that I have. So like I would love it even if somebody's listening and they could tell us about what it was like to see that transition for Boomer and Pinder, or even any of their other kind of favorite personalities. Well, I
think we gotta call on the Wolverine here. I think they got to ask Rhett at FlamesNation.ca. We might need something for people can send us in their stories a little bit longer on Twitter, because Twitter, you can only do so much. I would love to hear stories of what it was like for people to be like, because we just like, we announced it. And like, the funny thing is, and like, again, this podcast is like predominantly dominated by Boomer and Pinder talk, but people want to hear it. The Wolverine and I had like just discussed how we're going to put them out there. Yeah. And we both were like, well, like what the coolest thing is for us is like we're both wrestling fans. So like when you have a debut in wrestling, it's the coolest thing ever. It is lights out and you don't know who's coming up, and then boom, they all of a sudden appear, and it's louder than a rock concert. It's louder than a Flames game. So we did the Chris Jericho break the walls down, and I had the video. And the Wolverine could attest this. I had the video made like weeks in advance. And I know both him and I watched it probably fucking 100 times.
You're just riled and ready.
Because we knew what was coming, and then we dropped it and people just lost their freaking minds.
I love that. That's so cool though. Like, in the digital space, like you talk about wrestling, you talk about like the big reveal, and like it's fun, like being a part of that in a digital space, or whether it's radio or podcasting.
And like only a handful of my friends knew. Like I didn't tell too many people just to kind of keep it under wraps. And yeah, the response that we got from that day when we dropped it was unbelievable. Like it gave us a lot of legitimacy on FlamesNation. Not that we didn't have it before, but and like just to, I guess, to kind of cap it off is kind of going back to this. Like I'd like to view it as a fan, because these are guys that, whether you feel like you know them, because they've been on radio for so long, like they've a decade or whatever it was. So you feel like you know them, and to see them come back on video, I know that a lot of guys in the comments or the YouTube comments or whatever, like my mornings are whole again, right? Because you got guys that are driving truck, or they're working on the farm, or they're in, you know, a mechanic shop or whatever, somewhere, even an office job. If you're working, whatever, they know that, okay, I'm at work at 7 a.m. I can listen to Boomer and Pinder in the background. I can laugh. And this is give it a little transition to the next part. We can talk about our Jasper trip with those two guys. We went to Jasper with the On the Bench boys.
I love those boys.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about them. But Jacob and Ollie, I believe it was Ollie who said that when he was a little bit younger, whether it was a job or something like that, he was going through a bit of a tough time, and things just weren't right for him. And his escape was Boomer and Pinder. Yeah, and he told me that it was just you feel like you're part of their world. You feel like you're their friend. And it's because they do such a good job of that, right? Yeah.
It's escapism. And I think that, you know, people get very attached to those things, because myself too, when I need to kind of like just get out of my own head, I have those go-to things, whether it's, you know, my favorite songs, or sometimes I can't even do that because it'll put me too much in my feelings. So it's like, I listen to a funny podcast. I watch my like emotional support favorite TV show. And you feel like there's such a personal connection with these either characters or personalities, and it's very important for people, right? Like, and it's something that we don't always think about too, at like the importance of entertainment in our lives.
Yeah,
sports, music, movies. It gets us through all the hard shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. So I'm patting them on the back, our favorite term that we love to use here. I am patting Boomer and Pinder on the back and saying, like, it's awesome to have these guys back, because they've made a difference in people's lives, and they bring entertainment back to our city. They bring a different perspective on the Flames. You get to hear them swear now, and you get to see them behind the scenes and stuff like that. And the last thing I will say is the number one question that I get in relation to Barn Burner from friends, from family, from whatever. I went to a wedding on the weekend, and as soon as one person finds out, because it was like my wife's friends, so she's with all her friends, and there's all the husbands there, right? The boyfriends there. One person finds out that I'm from Flames Nation. Yeah, it turns into a snowball, and then it essentially turns into a press conference. Yeah. Of like guys standing in front of me, and they're like putting their hands up. They're like, what's the next move for the Flames? And then and then next, I'm like, so
you're like, you think I have all the fucking answers?
Oh yeah, they do. But the number one question that I get asked about at Barn Burner is that what Pinder is like in real life? Because they think that it is a character that he puts on. I will tell you 100%, it is not an act. That is exactly.
I haven't even been able to, like, his scheduling and stuff. Yeah. I haven't been able to witness it in the glory.
We're gonna get the Pin Dog on the show, because people are gonna want to hear his story. Yeah, but that's 100% what he is like in real life. Like, it is not an act. To be really honest, sometimes off camera, it's turned up. Like, people are like, does he really like go out and like booze all night and then show up and do the show? And like, no problem. Like, yeah, he does.
He's just unhinged.
And then like he'll go to Greta Bar and stay there all night, and then go do Chinese food or whatever, and then come to work at 10 a.m., do the show, go get his kids, and then do it all over again.
I haven't done that kind of rally since I was like 23. So
he's like a decade older than us, and he's
I know. Good for him.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that kind of covered the behind the scenes, though, revealing too.
Well, and now we've got Rob Kerr too, right?
Yeah. I mean, we might as well. Like, that's another plug that we want to be able to do on this type of network, is plug each other's show, because those
share the love, right?
Those are our teammates, and Rob was a big ad for sure. He's coming into his own right now for sure, and I've done most of his shows as the producer. And again, another one that we knew about for a while, but didn't really act on it until the time was right. And to have Rob back, Rob's a little bit older in terms of like his timeline. Yeah. Like he did the post-game show for the Flames a long time.
Well, he just comes with like just so much experience, and people are really dialed in. And I think that like we're with Flames Nation, we're able to touch on so many different audiences. Yeah. And there literally is something for everybody, whether you are a more kind of casual sports lover or you want to get into the nitty gritty of like stats and game commentary. Like it's all here,
I hate to break it to you, we're not breaking down the trades and the acquisitions and stuff on this show. No.
Please don't ask me any of those questions.
We have Boomer and Pinder do that, and Rob Kerr touched on it today, but to have Rob back is, again, it's also a little starstruck too, because you see Rob a little bit more in the community, because Rob does a lot of cool things, hockey heroes and stuff in the community, so you see him a little bit more, but to see him in person, just a nice down-to-earth guy, wants to do everything. His show is only 5 episodes in, and it just keeps getting better and better. He had Danny Austin on today, who's from the Calgary Sun. He's beat reporter for the Flames. He used to do stuff for the Stampeders, Danny, and he came in today and was outstanding. Like he did an hour, but he could have done the whole 2 hours, because him and Rob Kerr, he sat in this very spot and just went back and forth with Rob the whole time. So Rob brings the Flames element, but he brings it's called Just a Game. Like he wants to cover sports, and his biggest thing is sports is fun. Like he doesn't want to focus on the negative side of sports. He wants the fun side of sports to be featured.
Yeah, which I think is it's so refreshing, right? It's so easy to kind of like get into the nitty gritty of it and pick it apart, but it's like he's right. It is just a game. It is just a game, and like let's have some fun and remember that like we're here because we love it. Right. So I think that that's great. And the FlamesNation family is expanding. And
I do see the comments of people being like, FlamesNation is like, they're snatching up. Like if they see someone available.
Hey, we don't snatch anybody. Maybe if people just if people just come on over and they're like, hey, we like what you're doing, we can't stop them.
It's business.
It's business. That's all it is. It's business.
Business, baby.
It is business, baby. But to have Rob here. I mean, Rob's 3 times a week right now. I have a feeling that's gonna change real fast. Because he just loves.
You ready for that workload?
He's shaking his head. Yes, I know.
He's like, you better be.
To have Rob back and to actually finally talk to Rob and meet him as a person, and like he doesn't. I don't think Rob sees a lot of the comments during the show, and I don't think he sees just how happy people are to have him back. Just how excited people were to see him on Afterburner. He did 1 post-game show, and you could tell he was a little nervous because he hasn't done a post-game show. He said since 2011.
Wow.
So it's a very long time for him to do that. So I think he's just getting his feet getting wet here at FlamesNation. But
getting wet here at FlamesNation. You said it, Tommy. Listen, we're flooding the basement here at FlamesNation. Let's go.
Yeah, well, there is a basement.
Listen,
here.
if I'm watching a barn burner or just a game, my basement is probably flooded. I'm not gonna lie.
So welcome to FlamesNation, Rob Kerr. I'm skipping over that one. Welcome to FlamesNation, Rob Kerr. It's awesome to have him here. Like I said, I'm sitting in on his shows right now, and the guests he's got, I will say. And I can say this because he has promoted it. You're going to want to tune into Rob Kerr, Just a Game, on Monday. That's this Monday. I believe that is the 6th. Rob has in studio, going to be sitting where I'm sitting, is Kelsey Snow. And if you know that's Chris Snow's wife. Chris Snow, the management with the Flames. It's going to be a big one. Very, very big one. We're very much looking forward to that. I want to make sure nothing goes wrong on that show. I know.
Knock on wood.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, that it's incredible. And we've got a FlamesNation family. There's the Flames family. There's this Calgary family, and Markstrom has added to his family.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they did hear about that. Yeah.
His lovely wife popped out a child.
Yeah.
I haven't kind of dug deep into if there's any photos or anything like that, but man, people online were kind of mean. Like I get it. It's you got a lot of weight on your shoulders being Mr. Markstrom, right?
Yeah, you do.
And you're looked at with a microscope all the time. But when they were like, oh, he's not in practice today, and people online were like, oh, he's slacking. And the Flames even replied from their social media, and they were like, if you had a child, we would hope that you would be there too for the birth of your child. So it's like, it's crazy.
It's usually the people that are making the comment are never going to have a kid for that obvious reason. But yeah, it's hard because the Flames fans will go both ways with this one too. They'll automatically think that it's performance based. He's not doing so well because he's got a pregnant wife at home. I mean, there's to a degree that might be a thing. Everyone handles everything differently. I have 2 kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. Like I understand that sometimes your focus isn't on your job. Yeah, there are times where I'm sitting there doing barn burner or whatever, and I'll get a message about my kid at daycare, and my focus kind of goes like,
it's priorities too. Yeah. Like you can, jobs can come and go, and success can come and go. Yeah. But like your family's is there. Yeah. Through everything. So I think that, like, you know what? Good on him for not letting it shake him. And even to say that your personal life just flat out doesn't impact your performance is, I think, a little bit of a sham, because you can focus yourself to the best of your ability and you can prepare yourself for the tasks at hand. But like there's probably a lot of scientific evidence that proves, your mood, what's going on in your life, whether it's conscious or not, will impact what you're doing.
Yeah. Right? 100%. Yeah. Like I was in the same boat. Like when you get to the due date or past the due date, you go to work and you're wondering, like, am I going to get called home? Like
you're white knuckling it.
Yeah. Like am I? And I did. Like when my first was born, I went to work and I got called home. But so like I don't know if that's going through his head or whatnot. And like maybe the barn burner guys had a point of like, if he was struggling, like maybe do they go to him and say, you're struggling right now, like we'll survive this 3-game road trip without you, like go home and like spend time with your wife.
And I think like it really humanizes these players, right? Which I think is important to remember, that they are people with families and lives. And like we were talking about trade deadline too.
You want to break down the trades? Like who the Flames?
No, I really don't.
we got Mr. Wolverine back there, is just like up in arms. Well, Matthias Ekholm on going to Edmonton.
Yeah, baby.
That trade break yesterday, he was hooting and hollering and screaming. But like I said, we got trade deadline shows on Friday, whatever, barn burner, they're gonna go do that. Ours is more about like I told you this at the start of the show. Like, could you imagine if you're I'll just use like me as an example. I'm sitting away, plugging away, doing my thing, and I get a phone call from my boss, Jay, and goes, Mark, we've actually traded you to the Leafs Nation. So you're being traded from FlamesNation to Leafs Nation. They need you there tomorrow. So they'll have a hotel for you, but you got to figure out your family, whatever. Like, could you imagine just having to uproot your life? Now it's a little bit different. There's a lot of money involved. These guys get paid very, very well. They're competing. They're not like, we compete here at FlamesNation, but we compete 365 days a year. These guys are competing for a period of time and then take a break. But I couldn't imagine just having to uproot your life and being like, okay, I'm traded to this team. Is this team going to want to keep me? Do I move my family here? Oh, my 7-year-old struggled at getting comfortable at school 6 months ago, and now they're comfortable and they have friends. Now I have to pull them out of school.
And it starts the process over again.
Yeah,
right?
I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, and I think about it from a woman's perspective.
Sure.
And say what you will about the NHL wives, they probably have to deal with so much stuff that we can't even fathom.
Yeah.
With having a life like that, I kind of compare it to like maybe even being from like a military family, right? Like you never know. You never know where you're gonna end up. You don't know when you have to uproot your life. And I think that like I wouldn't be able to do that. There's no way.
I think a lot of people, and I even said it before, people are like, oh, they get paid enough. That's to a degree, but at the same time, that like, what does that matter? Like, okay,
they're humans.
Yeah, they're still humans. Like, just because you make over $1 million doesn't mean like that's gonna make your kid feel better about getting pulled out of school.
Yeah, like think about how it would feel to lose your best friend in school in grade 3.
Yeah,
and be like, sorry, it's because like dad's got to go play hockey.
Wow,
and it's hard.
Well, it's even kind of what we talked about before. Like I've been working with Boomer and Pinder for 6 months, and I work with the Wolverine. You start to develop friendships with these people, and you get to know them personally and their personal lives and stuff like that. Oh, I have to leave all my friends now, and go make new friends, and this like again. It's all different when you get to go, you're traded from St. Louis to Toronto, and then you get to go to Toronto. It's awesome there. Like,
the transition is probably like comparatively a lot cushier than the average person, right?
Well, yeah.
Everything's kind of, I'm assuming, taken care of in a lot of senses. Like, I think about moving in general and how much of a nightmare that is.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, man, just to how quickly that can change in a
well, I think a
second.
lot of these guys too, like if you get traded now at the deadline, there's less than 30 games left. We're down the home stretch. A lot of these guys aren't going to move their families.
Yeah.
Because but then they have to be away for their family, right? Like if you get traded from Calgary to Florida, like you're like, oh, my kids are in school, my wife has a job. Like I'm not like the end of the season could be in May. Like it's 2 months. I'm not going to uproot my life, but then you got to spend 2 months away from your family, right?
Yeah.
And imagine like the stress on these guys too, like because as much as like we talked about it last episode about not reading what's on social media because it's crap, maybe some of these guys do read what's going on social media, and they read that I've been in a trade rumor for months right now.
Yeah,
the deadline's coming up. Like, am I gonna get traded today? Like Frank Seravalli talked about me for a week. Am I going to get traded today? So you're practicing. That's the one thing with trade deadline day. The guys that have the practices in the morning before it ends at noon. Oh God.
No, I couldn't.
There was a guy on the Flames. Dennis Weidman was his name, and he tricked out the Flames media because he was practicing, and then he had one of the trainers bring a phone on the bench, and he like skated over and picked up the phone and answered it on the bench. And of course, all the media guys are like, "Oh my god, they're like taking pictures of Dennis Weidman just left practice. He's being traded," and it was just a rib. Like he just fucked with them.
See, I like that. Yeah. I think that's really funny.
I think you can only do that if you're guaranteed not to be traded. Like if management went to him and said, or if he's got like a no move clause or something, that you could go to him and do that. But if you imagine doing that prank and then getting traded, actually,
that would be kind of rough. Yeah. Oh boy. Although imagine that though, like imagine from the media perspective, if they caught that exact moment.
Well, that's what they're looking for. And like, I mean, we're in the media too, so I'm not going to lie. If I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw that, oh, Dennis Weidman's on some Eric Francis tweets, Dennis Weidman's on the bench talking on the phone, he might be getting traded. I'm going to relay that info to them. I'm going to relay that info to Pike because we're all in the media.
Yeah, you're hyper focused on it, right?
Good on it. Like, that's funny. Like, I come from the lighter side too of like the Upshaw and O'Brien on curfew. They're the guys that would do that kind of prank stuff too. So
like last episode revealed you're a shit disturber in your own way. So
yeah, with the fake Team Canada roster. Yeah. Forgot about that. So
just making some noise.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I was at the game last night. My wonderful friend Justine Tyrell sang the anthem for Black History Month celebration. Awesome. Yeah. I was happy to be there. I surprised her with her best friend.
Cool.
I brought her best friend and we were like, Kylie Roman was there. And
oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, we had such a great time and she did such a great job. But we also got to see Mr. Chris Sutter with a fresh gold medal.
Chris Sutter was flaunting that thing around.
Oh yeah, he was ready to go. And it's so nice to see, even just on the Flames social media, like the amount of support that he has.
Sure.
And I always make a joke about, I'm like, these players, they don't run this building.
No,
it's not these players. It's Chris Sutter. Like,
do you see him around much?
I do. Yeah. So funny story. Some of the spotters at the game, people who are in charge of like taking care of color guard, anthem people, all that stuff. They were like, oh, Chris was down here and he was wondering where George was.
Yeah.
And they explained to Chris, like, oh no, it's like Michela's singing today, right? And they go, oh, do you want to meet her? And he goes, nope. I was like, that's fine. That's fair. I that checks out for me.
Yeah. So,
but he's so cool. Like I've had a couple conversations with him and he's such a nice guy. And he's always just so excited and happy to be there.
Yeah.
And, congrats, Chris. Congrats on your gold medal.
I think it was floor hockey. He got it in. And on the broadcast, they said he got a goal too. So.
Oh my God. Okay. So that like makes my little heart explode.
Yeah.
Because when I think I was around like 12 years old, my dad, he volunteered a lot with the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
And me and him helped coach floor hockey.
Cool.
For like a couple years. So, got a spot in my heart for Special Olympics and all of those athletes. Was that another beer?
Is that a beer crack?
No.
It's a soda. It's a soda.
Well, I'm on camera right now, but normally I'd be joining. I can't wait till after the show. Like, I'm looking at that beer right now. I'm not gonna say where it's from,
but it looks nice and crispy and cool.
Oh, yeah. So, but it's to go back to Chris Sutter. Like, I mean, I got to see him do it in LA, like not physically see it, but on social media and stuff. When the camera goes to him in the crowd, like it doesn't matter if they're down 5-1 or they're up 5-1, whatever. Like place is gonna explode when they see him up there. So I don't know. It probably gives him so much joy.
There was I got another Chris Sutter story. So they were celebrating Brett Sutter's 1,000th game,
Wranglers,
and they had a beautiful like celebration for him and the whole family. And they were announcing each member of the family, and Brett Sutter, and everybody goes, yeah, woo, and then Chris Sutter. I was like,
he got a bigger pop.
Yeah, and I was like, work, go off, Chris. Like
that's awesome.
he runs this town.
Yeah,
he does. It's so amazing.
It's good to him. His brother's here, his dad's here. Like, Vikings not too far from here, so like, I mean, I'm sure that they obviously live in Calgary and commute or whatever, but him to be close to home, and it's a cool thing to see, and it's cool that the Flames feature him. Like obviously, like you have to feature him.
Did you see that like interview video that they did with him? It was actually so cool.
Yeah, no, I did, and there was like questionnaires and stuff. They're asking like his favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
Apparently he's big into wrestling too. So it's cool to see.
My sister used to be really big into wrestling, but I went to one wrestling event one time, and it was very like amateur. But I realized how like into it that I got.
It's one of those things where I'm sure the Wolverines the same thing with him too, where you like it so much as a kid, and then you go through a period where you get a little bit older and you forget about it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just comes back. That's what it's like for me.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you
like
get
I don't watch it every day. I follow like social media makes things so accessible where you don't like, unfortunately, know. On a Monday, I don't have 3 hours to watch Monday Night Raw, but you can get the recap on social media. But the biggest thing about wrestling is it's the history. Like when him and I grew up, that was the prime time of it. And you can relive all that stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's something I want to do a deep dive into on my off time.
Well, we need to. Sorry to cut you. We need to, and I know the Wolverine wants to. We need to go down to the Hitman's Bar.
Yeah,
you heard about that Hitman's Bar?
I checked it out on last weekend.
Last week, yeah,
not bad.
It's not bad. Like,
I've seen lots of like pictures and videos. It looks real slick in there. Like it looks great.
Lighting and pictures and belts and all the cool wrestling gear is cool.
I think me and Wolverine might be going to the game on Saturday, so I think we need to make a little pit stop in there before.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that'd be fun. And like, I've seen. I can't remember exactly what the show was. Like, obviously, it wasn't Bret the Hitman Hart, but it was that kind of association, and they did a show at Ranchman's, and it was so cool.
You know what the funny thing is? I probably did the show. I did 3 events.
Yeah,
where I like had to work with them and plan it all.
Yeah,
and like there were some crazy fucking guys.
I remember there was like a little bit of drama at the one that I saw.
There were some fights, and one of the guys wanted to do a moonsault on like a backflip or something off of like the loft over the dance floor. He wanted to go up top and like dive off the top. Like I'm like, oh okay. I'm like, of course me. I'm like, yeah, like do it because I'm like a wrestling fan. But like, there's
the
so
ambulance
much,
is on standby.
There's so much, and then one guy had a ladder and like he jumped like near the roof and he just missed by that much. Like his head hitting one of the like like the saddles. Yeah. Like it's.
I remember there was like some sort of drama with like some wrestlers' girlfriends or something, and I was like. I didn't know that I was going to be witness to all of this fun stuff. Like, this is so great.
It's fun. Like, independent wrestling would be fun. Like, I don't know. Like, we went from talking to like Boomer, Pinder, Kerr, Chris Sutter. Now they're wrestling.
Markstrom
wrestling, trade deadline.
Wives.
Like, but that's what you're going to get with Flames Citizens. Like, people think, oh, we're just going to talk about Flames for an hour. Like, it goes all over the place. And,
we're unhinged.
I think that,
just like Pinder.
Yeah. No, you should have seen Pinder at the Holiday Spirits show. We had to drag him under. I think he passed out at his desk with texting.
I love that.
But that's what it is. Like, we're not, we want to cover everything and talk about your life and my life, and the Wolverines sitting with us here too. So it's not, as much as I'd like to talk about Flames for an hour, it's not.
No, we got so much more to give.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like we're switched now. We're in a different spot. We're on the couch. It's a little bit more, We're a little choked because Wolverine's back there pounding beers, and we have no red Solo cups. Like that's the rule. You can't, unless they're one of ours. We can't. He's just so no one can go to the dollar store and buy us a red Solo cup so we can have a drink.
He's like, bring your own water bottle.
Yeah. So I resorted to the smelling salts. Yeah.
No, that's so funny. I don't know. There's so much going on like in the city. There's so much like history with events in our city too. But like, there's some good ones coming up. Hey.
Yeah.
Like
you're talking
Kiss was announced this morning.
All concerts. Yeah. Kiss was announced today. So yeah, I've been buried in shows today. I haven't really seen much of that.
Yeah,
I caught the end of it, but I like the tail end, whatever got announced. But
yeah,
like that's like full on because like wasn't Gene Simmons did like a tasting at like a Sobeys in Calgary? Like,
I think there was like a lineup out the door for like 3 hours.
But it's a full on show. Like it's not a
full boots, makeup, Saddle Dome,
not
Kiss
Eagle
show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, I kind of want to get dressed up and go.
Yeah, I'd go see Kiss. I would see Kiss. That's one band I haven't seen. Like I've seen Motley Crue many times.
I haven't seen Motley Crue, and I feel like I would thrive in that environment.
Motley Crue, I've seen Motley Crue 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, I went to school with him, and he somehow weaseled his way into an internship, which he knew he wasn't going to get hired for when Nikki Sixx had a radio show.
If I saw Nikki Sixx in my direct vicinity, I would become a full-on groupie. Like from the 80s, I would like, watch out. So he ended up getting his internship with Nikki Sixx. He got to go out to LA, just lived it up for 3 weeks, like fully well knowing he's not going to get the job. It's an experience you can't pass up on.
Right? Yeah. So we ended up just like, he met like his tour manager or something. So a guy that followed him on Motley Crue on tour. And every time they came to Calgary, which this was 2015, 14, whatever, they would come every year. So we would get front row tickets. So I've seen Motley Crue front row in Calgary.
Right up in the.
Oh yeah. I have a video of like Nikki Sixx does like the, Wolverine, look at this reference, the Triple H that he takes his water bottle and he was just like, and just hit me right in the face.
And
I was like, and then they do the thing where it's like, I don't know, it's like a bloodbath. Obviously, it's not blood.
Yeah.
But they fill up buckets, red food coloring, and they just soak the front row. So if you're wearing a white shirt, you're fucked.
I'd be the one in the white shirt. That would be me.
That was not the white shirt guy, but.
What are you giggling at, Wolverine? Me in a white shirt? Listen, next show I'm wearing white.
Wet white shirt.
Wet white shirt.
Yeah, we'll do the fucking bloodbath. But the one show that Wolverine and I wanted to do, and we're still gonna do it. He's working on that sweet smoke.
Yeah.
But Nickelback.
I'd wear a white shirt to that one too.
Me too.
Just with like that. Oh yeah. Nickelback was the #1 band when I was in, halfway through high school. Yeah. Right? When I was 14, 15, that 2004, 2005, they were at the peak of like, and whatever, people want to hate on them. I don't get it. I still don't get it. Like maybe because they went from rock.
It was trendy to hate on them, but I'm like, guys, grow up. Them. We never hated them. It was just
like, you go to a Flames game, you still hear Burn It to the Ground. They still play Animals before the puck drop.
Going.
Saturday night's all right for fighting. I post that on Missing Curfew all the time. It gets people fucking fired up.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the Wolverine's working on that smoke for trying to get us in a sweep, but we're going to Nickelback.
I saw Nickelback with my parents like forever ago.
Oh
we were like way back in like the nosebleeds and stuff, but it was such an experience, and it's like, oh man. So my one buddy, he kind of lives in the same area as Chad.
Yeah.
And I love Chad Kroger so much. He's so funny. And this like new, like emerging Chad Kroger online is so fun.
I was gonna say that they're doing stuff on TikTok now.
Yeah.
And, like they did stuff with the guy Jesse from Bar Down Hockey. And like they're making it like the new song's a banger. Like
it's great. Yeah. So my buddy, he's a guitar player, very, very talented. And he was going through a breakup.
Sure.
He goes, man, I've been sleeping on Chad's couch. I'm like, which Chad? He goes, Kroger. Yeah. I'm like, get fucked. Like, your life isn't that bad if the couch you're crashing on is Chad Kroger's.
Right.
So like, it's so funny though. Like, and I've heard so many stories about Nickelback, and just they'll show up to, or Chad will show up to like a bar somewhere where he knows like my buddy Kadu, like, and they do stuff together, and they'll just get up and like start singing Rockstar, and they'll be pissed drunk, and I'm like, you know what? Good for you, buddy.
Oh no.
Like you can still hang, and like
that show will be sold out in Calgary.
Oh
it'll be loud, and it's gonna be a bit of an older crowd because, like I said, like I'm 32 right now.
All the old guys 50. And me in my white shirt.
Me
and Wolverine. I don't white shirts.
Well, I don't think I get too many 18-year-olds at that concert. Maybe
you'd be surprised.
They're generational band, like.
But with this TikTok thing that they're doing,
right?
They're definitely trying to tap into a new audience,
right?
So I don't know. There's lots going on at the.
Well,
at the
I
Dome
can't
these
say
days.
like that Nickelback would like I don't know what they do in the dressing room right now, but it's something that's always been in a hockey dressing room. It's something that's always been a soundtrack of hockey video games. It used, like I said, no joke. You go to next time you go to a Saddle Dome, count how many times you hear a Nickelback song. Yeah.
Well, when me and my buddy Dennis were even making the music for this show, we were like, what's the kind of vibe that we want to bring? And like we brought in a bunch of different kind of flavors, but like in the back of our minds the whole time, it's like we need to get that reaction that happens when Nickelback is played in the Saddle Dome at a game. Because like, man, it lights you up.
It does, yeah. It still does.
It makes your nipples go. It does for me. Does for me. I see it done for other people too. Come on.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to admit it that Nickelback gets your nipples just a little hard?
Not my nipples.
Work.
Is that a good way to end it?
I think so. All in all, Nickelback, we love you, and we can't wait for the show.
Well, is that all we got?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, we got to go. We added wrestling talk in there, and like I said, I do want to go to the Hitman's Bar. Like I really do want to go there.
Yeah.
Like just even do some content there. Like I know that it's kind of a hop in the spot. Like I think like they're trying to promote like actually watching wrestling and stuff there. Like if they have like pay-per-views and stuff. Like again, it's not the thing you do in Calgary. But I want to go to the Hitman's Bar. I want to do some fun stuff. We're gonna need to free up my schedule a little bit more.
We have a lot of like things that we need to plan. Like an Oodle Noodle like group trip.
Yeah.
Hitman Bar.
Yeah.
What was the other ones? Oh, Nickelback show.
We're gonna get more guests on the show. Like we're gonna start getting some guests on here too. Like we just want to get our feet a little bit wet here and our feet wet. And
the show has gotten so far off the rails. Oh man, no, but I'm excited for your guests and like to everybody watching. If you have an idea of who should be on the show, like who we should talk to, because we like help with this brainstorming and help us out. I think it'll be really fun to start bringing some friends on. Hey,
that's the thing. Is friends, and I have friends that I'm like that want to come on and just bury me with all my stories and stuff. I'm like,
I'd gladly witness that.
No,
I'll interview them and you'll just sit here.
So maybe next week if the Wolverine's around, because he'll have to attest to it because he was there. I will, like I did it on one of our earlier podcasts when it actually happened, but I didn't go into it too much. But I will go into the story when I got kicked out of the press box in Edmonton.
It was fucking embarrassing.
It was, there was two brands involved.
You were warned multiple times by us.
Yeah, I know. So I'll tell my story about how I got kicked out of the press box in Edmonton. And now, however, it's not a whole lot of nation people get to go in press boxes up in Edmonton. So I have that. I also got the Oilers. Got the Oilers to respond to us on Twitter one time too. So that doesn't happen a whole lot of the nation.
Do you want?
I'll leave that one. But yeah, well, my favorite thing to do on Citizens. Yeah.
Tell us more about how you got kicked out of the suite, and don't worry about anything else.
Yeah, maybe I'll if you can swing Bob Stauffer on the show. But here's the other thing too is like. He's a very busy guy, but our guy Daily Faceoff Frank, he was in there when it happened and he saw me, so he might I'm sure he wasn't pleased about it because Frank is also, and this is how I ended, Frank is also the guy that outed me for taking a whiz on the Nation truck. So.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that too. That Jasper trip seemed a little
we've gone over an hour, so we'll go back into Jasper stuff too because I want to lead into when we do get the guys from on the bench on. We'll talk a little Jasper with them because they were an absolute riot up in Jasper. They were so fun to be around in Jasper, and like those guys partied hard. The thing about those guys, if you go out with the boys, you better be prepared to get up with the men, and those guys put in
wow.
Yeah, that's a rule though, and I think that applied to everybody, where if you go hard with the boys at night, you better be ready to get up and go with the men. And I think all of us were hurt, and like unfortunately, I think the Wolverine and I took down 6 bottles of red wine between just the two of us.
That's adorable.
I'll show you the video. I have it on my phone. There's the Wolverine turned red wine into water. And he didn't even know.
Oh my goodness!
It tends to consume quicker when consumed direct from the bottle.
Oh my! This was a special trip you guys went on.
It was a special trip. We do have another trip, and I'll give a little plug here. We do have another trip coming up, and the Wolverine and I should be going to this one up in Edmonton on March 18th. It is actually the 15th anniversary. They're calling it Oilers Nation because that was the original name, but it's the 15th anniversary of Oilers Nation and the Nation Network.
Oh, congrats.
So,
yay.
It's a big milestone. Lots of guys are coming in. They're going up to Edmonton in the Pint up in Edmonton. I didn't know what the pint was up in Edmonton. Like I knew what the pint was here in Calgary.
Yeah.
And like, so I went up to Edmonton for the first couple of times, and like Jared and the guys are telling me, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the pint. And I'm like, the pint? Because like in Calgary it wasn't that great. Totally. So I'm like, and then Rick, shout out to Rick from the pint up in Edmonton. There was like a Flames game on a Thursday night. We were all planning to go to the pint the next night, and I was just at my hotel doing nothing. So Rick calls me, hey, come down to the pint. I'll take care of you. So I just go down to the pint. It's like dead in there. There's nothing in there. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are these guys so excited about the pint? So I get there on Friday with Wolverine, Bearded Brad, a bunch of other guys, and it is just slammed in there. It is like everybody's like, oh my god, I can't even move in there. There's fucking girls everywhere. It's hot as fuck in there for a reason. And I'm just like, this is not what the pint was in Calgary at all. Yeah. So the pint in Edmonton is different. We're looking forward to that. We'll probably have some stories from that.
Yeah, I wish I could join you, but I'm excited to hear what shenanigans you guys get up to. But let's put a pretty little bow on this.
He's got
you got one?
He's got something to say.
Well, we can chat about this anytime, but maybe this time Waz won't come to our table and drink our fucking beer.
Oh yeah, fucking Waz came up and just started snatching Nation beer. We're like, Waz, like ask. Like
we'll give it to you. Just like communicate.
And I think that might even have been the game where I did get punted from the booth because I was wearing my Flames hoodie at the pint, and like I was expecting guys to rip on. People were pretty good. Like there was one girl that was like old girl was just chirping me on the way to the pint, but no, people were good for the most part.
I went to the Unicorn a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
and they were giving away a raffle jersey, and some guy was just ripping on the Flames, and I had one too many, and I was like, you want to talk about my team like that? We can take it outside. And I was like, what has gotten into me? What has gotten into me? It's it's the fuck around and find out kind of attitude. But no, I love that. I'm excited for.
Well, we'll do some Flames events here, like staff events here where we got, get the crew together. But as to wrap it off, as you mentioned, jersey giveaway. Check out FlamesNation social media. Barnburner, they're doing a jersey giveaway, hearing loss. We've got it posted out there. Blasty jerseys signed, so check that out. Shout out to Oodle Noodle. We are in we call it the remote because wherever we are, we're sponsored by Oodle Noodle. They're the ones that are providing us with the studio, with the equipment, all that kind of stuff. Shout out Oodle Noodle. We'll go do some stuff there. Citizens has been great. It's been so fun to do so far. We're going to keep rolling. Hopefully I don't have to do 5 shows in one day again because we will figure out this schedule. I promise you. But yeah, this will drop. We'll get this dropped right away. Thanks everybody tuning in to another episode of Citizens. Wolverine, thanks for joining in, drinking beers in front of us, like teasing us the whole time. Like it's 5:30 on a fucking Wednesday. Like I do what I can to be a team player. Well, you're doing the Smell and Salts next show, so well, thank you so much, everybody. Be sure to pass this along to your friends. Give us some love on social media. And download the podcast. Download. Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. Please. Give us the downloads, please. And give us a shot. I know it's not a Flames podcast. Just give us a shot. Yeah. I think we'll have fun next week. So we will see you then. Yeah. FlamesNation Citizens, baby.